WeatherScope is sponsored by QuickTite Super Glue from Loctite. Stick with something simple, QuickTite.
This is WeatherScope.
Well, stormy weather is putting a damper on weekend plans for many of you in the eastern half of the nation. Today, severe weather threatens again in the southeast, while heavy rain and gusty winds are plaguing parts of the eastern seaboard. Good afternoon. I'm Declan Cannon. We've got the latest details on the situation and a Weather Channel crew monitoring conditions in New York City. Here's Rich Johnson in our forecast center with more. Rich?
Thank you, Declan. We continue to follow severe weather in the southeastern United States. Yesterday's severe weather actually now is becoming the northeastern day of soaking rain. Let me show you the setup for the rain in the northeast up the east coast. Well, what we're looking at starting with last evening was the rain coming on down, and that low formed into the northeast Gulf of Mexico, then made its way on up the coast. So by this morning it was on the Virginia North Carolina border. We expect by this evening that the low will be inland areas of New England. In the wake of this storm, about 1 to 2 inches of rain. So a solid soaking for areas of the northeastern United States. And following this storm, we have another low in the southeast that is bringing another round of severe weather today, although not in the same locations. Well, joining me right now is Mike Seidel. He's in New York City, where it's been a little bit wet and a little bit windy. Tell us, Mike, what's going on there?
A lot of people out on the streets today despite the rain, Rich. Temperatures are nice and mild for early November. 61 degrees. It's been like that all morning and now into the early afternoon. These temperatures are great for running, and this is the big weekend in New York. The New York City Marathon tomorrow kicks off at 10:45. Expecting 30,000 people. That's at least how many people are registered to start it off at the Verrazano Bridge, and we'll bring the pack back through here sometime early in the afternoon. We're at Columbus Circle just off Central Park West. And you can see all the foliage, all the leaves which have been blown down today. That could be a problem, especially out there in suburbia. Keep an eye on those storm drains with a combination of leaves and rain. And also, if you're driving around, watch out when you hit those brakes. You can slip. Let's go up to the Weather Channel mass cam and take a look at the skyline. It's an overcast day, but the ceiling, believe it or not, is not as low as it was earlier this morning before it actually started raining, as we pan across and looking down Broadway and down 8th Avenue through Midtown. Back at Columbus Circle, a lot of traffic. Rain isn't hindering a lot of folks today. However, the activity in the park certainly has been diminished because of the wet weather. We're going to get this batch of rain out of here. It should not be a bad evening, much like last night. Halloween was beautiful here, nice and mild and dry. Then storm number 2, Rich, as you'll certainly be talking about through the afternoon, comes in with some rain, likely to put a bit of a damper on the runners in the marathon. They like these temperatures, but they'd like to have some dry pavement for the run tomorrow. We'll keep you posted here from New York City. Back to you in Atlanta.
All right, thank you, Mike. We continue to follow the situation in your area. It looks like within about an hour the rain should be tapering off.
Okay, Rich, thanks.
All right, thanks, Mike. And again, we'll have some further updates as the afternoon wears on. What we're looking at is a low pressure center now over D.C. and Baltimore, heading up the coast. And the heaviest of the rain right now actually appears to be heading right up Narragansett Bay. Some of the rain showers all the way up toward eastern Long Island. This is what I meant by the rain stopping in New York City. I think you can see the blue here. That represents clear skies, or in other words, a little bit of a dry slot wrapping in behind a low pressure center. Sometimes when you have a low, it tends to wrap in some dry air, and that cuts off the rain, of course. Here's that dry slot appearing on the radar, and you can see the drier weather coming on in. So we think over to New York City or areas just to the east will be drying out significantly. Closer view of the radar showing New York City. This is our Doppler, but I don't know if you can see this yet, but there are the clear skies, or at least the dry conditions. And around New York City or just off to the east, it should stop raining probably within about the next hour. So that's the situation in the northeast with all the wet weather and the wind. The southeast, thunderstorms. Some of those were severe yesterday in Florida. Several tornado touchdowns and extensive flooding across the state of Florida. We do have some scenes, and this is Manatee County, where we were looking at a heavy soaking of 1 to 4 inches of rain. This was with the supercell thunderstorm that made its way from west to east Florida, right across the central part of the state. And essentially we were looking at quite a bit of damage with tornado touchdowns and actually some flooding. So that's the way it looked across Florida. A lot of trees down, houses damaged too, and those pine trees can be snapped just like toothpicks when you have a tornado moving on through. Here's our severe weather watch for Mississippi, and we are looking at that cold front coming on in. So we have a couple different things: upper air disturbance over Georgia, out in the Gulf of Mexico, and a strong one swinging in from Texas. That is causing the storms. Our satellite picture showing the storms lined up through here. Actually, a couple others making their way across the north side of Atlanta. So we're looking at these storms building up rather quickly. Lightning data indicating where the most recent cloud-to-ground lightning strikes are. Those actually are in Mississippi, and you can see the white indicating where those very active storms are. We do briefly have a radar showing the storms making their way toward Alabama. So over to Birmingham, watch out. Also the north side of Atlanta, very active thunderstorms, and off to the northwest coast of Florida. There's still a tornado warning for Okaloosa and Santa Rosa County near Milton. Look out for the possibility of a tornado dropping down from some of those storms. Well, that's a situation with severe weather and rain in the northeast. If you want additional information, make sure you check